I got hammered at a party and made out with a hot dude, but completely forgot I had a boyfriend and think this might be the end of our relationship. This past Friday, my friend threw a huge party for her 26th birthday. It wasn't a particularly significant birthday, but her father always indulges all her requests, and her parties are always one of the highlights of the year. This year she was inspired after watching the fall of the House of Usher, and wanted to throw a party in an abandoned building. So, her father made it happen. I wasn't too involved with the planning this year because work kept me busy, so when I first heard the idea I was skeptical, but she pulled it off spectacularly. My boyfriend and I met at uni when I was 18 and had been close friends. We lost contact when we graduated and I got engaged, but sadly my fiancé died when I was 22. He was great support to me during that time, but since he moved to a city 4 hours away we'd only exchanged the occasional text. Well, early this year when we both got slightly drunk at another party, we ended up in the same bed. He asked me out after that and we slowly transitioned into a relationship. Anyway, moving on, I woke up today with vague memories of what had happened the night before, but my body felt wrong. I know I got insanely drunk and stupidly said yes when I was offered some Molly. I've only ever smoked in the past, and that was during uni. The UK is very strict about drug usage, and my job requires a pretty intense background check. Even being in the vicinity of substances might get me fired. At the party, I hung about with my friends towards the beginning of the night, but I turn into a social butterfly when I'm drunk, and I wandered off and ended up chatting to a friend of a friend I barely knew. He was quite flirty, and I remember mentioning pretty early on that I had a boyfriend. He said he was just bantering. Now I can't remember who initiated it, but I remember kissing him. I don't know for how long, but it felt pretty intense. After beating myself up and having a shower, I asked any of my friends if they had witnessed anything, and one of them said she was the one who dragged me away from the other guy after seeing me making out with him. She said as she grabbed me, she could tell I was ridiculously drunk and had no idea what I was doing and took care of me the rest of the night. She had chosen not to say anything to me if I didn't remember since it was just a drunken mistake, and my other friends agree with her. They said it's not worth blowing up my relationship with something like this since it doesn't mean anything, and I barely remember what happened. She told me nobody else saw since we were in quite a secluded corner, and this secret would stay between us, but I'm not sure how to proceed. He texted me this morning asking how I was and hoping I had a nice time, and if my friend liked her present since he helped me shop for it, and I haven't been able to reply to him. I've got no words until I sort out what I'm going to do. I know these girls would never tell a soul what happened, but the guilt is killing me. I don't know how I'm going to face my boyfriend the next time I see him, even if I choose not to tell him. And if I do, then how do I deal with everything if he chooses to leave? I know I'll never do anything like this again because I'll never let myself be put in such a mindless state, but would it be absolutely horrible of me if I choose to just move on from this without telling him? I need objective advice because I know my friends are always going to try to protect and help me. I know I exhibited supreme lack of judgment and would not mind any criticism, but don't bimbo shame, please. Update. Thank you everyone for the advice left, especially the comments calling out my behavior. While they initially stung, you made me see the way I was trying to justify what I did instead of taking accountability. I got a dozen messages from people who had been in my boyfriend's position before, and I want to apologize if my post was triggering in any way. So I listened to the majority and told my boyfriend. I texted my boyfriend that I missed him a lot, and he said that he could drive down and stay for a couple of days since he could work remotely if he wanted to, but I don't have that option. He basically left as soon as I asked him to, and it takes him about 4 hours to reach my city, in which I had enough time to get the full story of that night. I asked a friend of mine if he could find out from the guy what happened without making it obvious I was asking, and he agreed. I asked him to call me when he did so me and my friends could listen in. I wanted to know exactly what he said so I knew what to tell my boyfriend. My friend is closer to the guy than I am, and they game together, so him going over to his flat wasn't an uncommon occurrence. Initially, he was worried that he wasn't a good actor, but I told him exactly how to bring it up, and he did pretty well, to be fair.